Hi, so I'm Laura and I'm very pleased to be here today. And I also have to tell you that I'm quite surprised to be here because 10 years ago I would have never imagined myself on a stage because I was really scared of presenting. And I just want to encourage everybody who is suffering from stage fright that you can do it. So at Sulapac, our mission is related to the huge plastic waste problem that we have, and our team is thinking every day how could we come up with solutions to help with this problem. And this image here tells the reality of the plastic waste problem in many places. So above 300 million tons of plastic is being produced every year. And a lot of that plastic is used to make necessary things that last a long time. But also, often they end up in the wrong place. And it's estimated that about 20% of the plastic ends up in the nature uncontrolled. That means 60 million tons of plastic every year. And from that, 10 million tons into the seas. And that is totally unacceptable. So, with the volume of plastic about to quadruple by 2050, at this speed, if nothing changes, there will be more plastic in the oceans than fish by 2050. So recycling is necessary and it needs to be developed further, but unfortunately it's not an answer to the plastic waste problem. Only below 20% of the plastic is recycled. And this is due to many things, partly because recycled plastic has very little value. It's often contaminated and mostly downcycled, so it doesn't return to its original use. Therefore, we really need some other options as well. Thirdly, the share of oil that is used to make plastic is now 6%. But with the exponential growth of plastic production, it will be already 20% by 2050. And the greenhouse gases released from the production of plastic and incineration will seriously threaten our ability to meet the carbon emission targets. So what we should do concerning the climate change is to change to renewable materials instead of oil. Then there's also the case of microplastics. So microplastics are these really small plastic particles, smaller than 5 millimeters in size, and they can be formed from bigger, larger plastic pieces that then degrade into smaller and smaller pieces. Or sometimes they are intentionally added to, for example, cosmetics and personal care products. The problem is that these plastics are so small that they can pass through the water filtration systems, and therefore they can be found in the drinking water. And one study found that we, on average, are eating about 5 grams of plastic every week, and that's about the size of a credit card. And even though there isn't scientific consensus yet on the effect of microplastic on human health, I have to say as a biochemist that the recent findings are very alarming For example, just recently it was found that in laboratory, in contact with microplastics, human immune cells die 3 times faster than normally. So we really need to start doing something about this plastic waste problem, and our mission is to save the world from the plastic waste. However, we need all different kinds of ways to do that, and there are already quite many things that we can do, so that's the good news. So we should avoid plastic wherever it makes sense, and if you can't avoid it, at least don't use virgin plastic. So we need to start valuing recycled materials more. And finally, we need to invest in new materials and innovations and alternative solutions like Sulapac. So basically, when you realize all the damage that the plastic waste is doing in the wildlife and potentially to yourself, and especially to your kids, you start to look for alternatives, and that is what happened to me and my colleague Suvi Haimi. We are both biochemists, and we got to know each other when I was doing my PhD at the University of Tampere. And that time I was studying different biomaterials in biomedical applications. Several years later, we got this idea together that we could use our biomaterial knowledge to develop something sustainable and beautiful that could be alternative to plastic. So in 2016, we jumped from the academic careers to start up a company called Sulapac. And from the beginning, we had this kind of different kind of roles. That Suvi was the one who was like very extrovert and getting us funding and getting us the right contacts, and I'm more like the nerd in the lab who is then making these ideas into life. And I really spent like almost 9 months in a plastic factory next to this injection molding machine, trying to get out what was our vision of this material. And our first demo product was this cosmetic jar. And we wanted to make this because we needed to convince others. And finally, then I got out this one that was really our vision and also our identity. So we wanted to make it a piece of Nordic design, not just to be a replacement for plastic, but also be beautiful. And I have to say that I'm really proud how it turned out. So Sulapac is a material innovation, which is a lot like traditional plastic, but without the harmful impacts on the environment. It biodegrades fast and fully and leaves no microplastics behind. It can be recycled through the industrial composting, and it's safe and circular by design, meaning that we take the sustainability into account in every step of the product's life cycle. For example, we only choose materials that are non-toxic. We use sustainably grown wood that comes from the industry side streams. And because of these unique properties, we have already got a lot of international recognition and won some very nice competitions as well. And for that, we are grateful. Thank you. So the second part of our innovation is related to the manufacturing. So you can use this material in the existing plastic factories. So it's mass producible. It also enables that you can use the local production factories. We have already tested our materials in US, Asia, and Europe in more than 50 plastic factories. So with minimal investment, the current plastic producers can change to producing sustainable option. And this manufacturing technique also enables utilization of the local resources. So in Finland, we do have a lot of wood side stream from wood industry, but in other places you might not have wood as well, so you can use other raw materials. So the benefit of Sulapac over many other biodegradable materials is that it biodegrades very fast. And the best way to recycle Sulapac is through the industrial compost, so where bio-waste is collected. And we have received the seedling certificate for our, for example, this premium packaging. And it means that the compostability has been tested and verified by third-party institute. And the testing consists of 4 parts. Firstly, it's checked that the microbes in the soil can actually eat the material. Secondly, we check that the disintegration speed is fast enough. It has to be below 12 weeks. Thirdly, the ecotoxicity is tested on growing actual plants on the soil that results from the biodegradation. And finally, it's checked that there's nothing harmful left in the soil at the end. And with Sulapac, we can fulfill all these criteria. So in order to save the world from plastic waste, we need to first understand that what is a truly sustainable choice. And in the modern world, it's not so easy because plastic has become a very complicated issue. Not many can tell, for example, the difference between bio-based or biodegradable material. For example, even if some material is fully bio-based, but if it's not biodegradable, it will still persist in the nature just like conventional plastic and degrade into microplastics. Whereas biodegradable materials, and especially fast biodegrading materials like Sulapac, won't leave any microplastics behind. And that's why we think that it would be more clear to talk about materials that are microplastic free and microplastic releasing. To put it simply, the difference is that the microplastic releasing materials can't be digested by microbes in the nature, but they will stay there for hundreds of years. And the microplastic free can be eaten by the microbes and eventually turn into carbon dioxide, water, and biomass. So our philosophy at Sulapac is to make products that are safe and circular by design, meaning that, for example, with the straws, we mimic nature. They will biodegrade at the sea at the same speed as birch leaves, so in 2 to 3 years. We also make sure that there's nothing toxic left behind, and, for example, test that even the plankton growth is not affected by our material. Thank you. However, even though our material is biodegradable, it shouldn't end up in the nature. So we don't encourage littering. And everything should be recycled, and so should Sulapac. And the main recycling route for Sulapac is through the organic recycling, meaning the compost, the industrial composting. However, we have designed the material so that wherever it ends up, it will be a better option than plastic. For example, if you burn it, incinerate it, it will create less toxic gases and CO2 than plastic. Same if it ends up in the nature. It won't leave any microplastics or toxic substances behind. Besides that, we are also looking into different ways to recycle in the future. For example, the chemical recycling through pyrolysis, but also biomethane production for energy and cardboard recycling. So I have this image here to remind myself that it has not always been an easy road. So doing something totally new, it takes a lot of persistence. And in the beginning, there was a lot of trial and error. And sometimes all that came out from the experiments at the factory was a plot like this, and it's actually from one of my experiments. I thought it was kind of beautiful, so I saved it. But sometimes it's good to stop and really appreciate what you have done and what you have achieved. And I think that many of us women, we are overly critical about our own work. So it's good to stop and think about what you have done. It's a good thing. And at the moment, I'm really proud of the talented team that we have gathered with Suvi. So at the moment, we are almost 30 people working at Sulapac. And it's so cool that there are people who have so many great ideas how to take Sulapac further from what we have started. And I'm super excited about the new projects that are coming up soon. Right now, what we are selling is the Sulapac portfolio. So we have a ready-made Sulapac collection, which is mainly gift boxes and jars that can be ordered directly from us. But our future is in the material selling and material granule licensing. And we have already developed several different recipes. They are suitable for different things. So, for example, we have this recipe for extrusion that you can make straws. Then we have 2 different injection molding recipes, universal, which is very easy to take into use at the factories. And then we have the premium, which has this luxurious look and feel from the very large wood chips. We started our journey from packaging and the cosmetic packaging especially, but with our technology, we soon realized that it's possible to do all different kinds of products, and therefore we have quite many interesting projects going on. As entrepreneurs ourselves, we believe in the power of business to change the world. And that's why we work with some of the biggest brands, also help them to change faster. And we are very fortunate to collaborate with renowned partners like Chanel. And it really gives us confidence that we have fulfilled, for example, all their high-quality requirements. And we are also very proud to collaborate with some of the leading brands in Finland, for example, Fazer, Berner, and Lumene, to bring out some new solutions, sustainable solutions to the market. So Sulapac is collaborating, for example, with Stora Enso, which is one of our global partners today. And we are proudly launching something that hopefully will change the world. And let's watch this film together. So this is the ocean-friendly straw. Besides that, it's marine biodegradable and doesn't leave any microplastics behind. It's a great thing that you can use it just like you've always used plastic straw. So it won't go soggy even if you want to use it the whole evening with your favorite drinks. And it will be commercially available by the end of this year. So to conclude my presentation, I have now gone through with you the whole design principle of Sulapac. It is safe and circular by design, meaning that we take every step of the product on this value chain into consideration from the sustainability point of view. So I went through with you how we select the most sustainable raw materials. That's the birch. Then we do extensive testing to see that it's actually safe for the environment and for you during the use, not to compromise the functionality. And then we also develop several different kind of end-of-life options for it. So the true value of this material comes from all the work that we put into it to make it safe and sustainable. And that is what I mean when saying that Sulapac challenges plastic. We also challenge the plastic industry to operate more responsibly. And what we do at Sulapac has become even more important to me after I became a mother last year. And our whole team works very hard to leave a clean, sustainable world for our children. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you, Laura. Very impressive. You're truly doing something that's changing the world. Or what do you think? I have some questions from our beautiful audience here. You described yourself as nerd in the lab.
Yes.
So the question is, what did you do to improve your confidence on stage, for example? Like, how have you overcome this?
Well, I made the mistake of saying it out loud that I'm a bit scared of presenting, and after that, Suvi, my co-founder and my former supervisor, was like, sending me to all of these events. Oh, you have to go, you have to go. And I was like, no, losing all my sleep at night and everything. But, it comes from when you do it more, it starts
so
from
exposing yourself to
yes.
that. Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's a hard way, but I think there's no other way.
Yeah, there was another question about, the competition between females. Your co-founder is another female. So based on your experience, like how would or should women collaborate rather than compete? Like how could we improve that situation? Because, no catfights and that sort of thing.
Yeah, I think for us it has always been easy because we are so different personalities. So that when Suvi is like highly energetic and outgoing and is like bubbling all these ideas, I'm more like, let me think about it. And then I come back like after a day or two that, okay, this is what I think about it. But yes, probably if the persons were more similar, there might be more
friction.
Yeah, because I also read from somewhere that it's very good combination. If you are starting a company, to have this kind of opposite natures, because then you complete each other.
Yeah. It's about the team structure and about the personalities and all that.
And if it would be just two very innovative persons, they would probably live like heads in the clouds and nothing would happen. So there would be just ideas. But when you have this balance, that there's somebody who is very like looking in the future, having these ideas, and then the other part who is a bit more realistic, that okay, let's test and then see that. Yeah.
Right. You also mentioned that you're a mother.
Yes.
That has been a life-changing and deepening experience. What is your secret sauce for combining family life and career?
Well, I'm still learning because my son is 1 year old. But I think now I'm much more efficient, so that with the time that I use for the work, I really keep into that set, and then I define before I start that, okay, I will do this, this, and this. And a lot, I have to make these decisions that this I will not do. So you have to prioritize a lot.
Yeah, and as in everything, it's about prioritization. Then another type of question, environmental issues, very current hot topic at the moment. In your opinion, how much impact can individuals have on protecting the environment, or is it just all about, governments? What's the individual way of influencing the situation?
I think we can do a lot as individuals, because where else would that demand come from? The demand that then the brands and the factories are, after all, listening.
Yeah. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, big hand to Laura.